I'm Shanna Martin, host of the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
You're listening to episode 258 of the House of Ed Tech podcast. It's the year 2025, and we are officially at the quarter century mark. We're in the 21st century, and I think it's time we talk about the future of education. Strike up the band. Welcome to the House of Ed Tech. My name is Chris Nessie. The House of Ed Tech launched in 2014, giving me the opportunity to speak with teachers, leaders, and creators so you can more effectively integrate technology, strengthen your pedagogy, and have more confidence in your classroom and school so you can make an impact. Get involved with the podcast by visiting my website, chrisnessie.com. Using technology isn't difficult, and this is where it begins. This is the House of Ed Tech. Happy 2025 and welcome back to the podcast. I'm very excited to be entering year number 11 of the House of Ed Tech. Gosh, it seems like it was just 2014, 11 years ago. I'm so glad you're making this podcast a part of your anytime, anywhere professional development. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. And if you are a new listener, welcome aboard for the first time. I've got a great episode, and this is going to wind up being the first episode in a series of an undetermined length where I want to look at the future of education. As I said in the opening, we are 25 years into the 21st century. What does education look like now, and where is education going? In today's episode, I want to talk about AI-driven personalized learning. I am very much a firm believer that AI is fascinating, and AI is more than just generative AI. So I think there's a lot to talk about, and I've got a lot to share in this episode. Let's get right into the first part of this episode, and I want to talk about what is AI-driven personalized learning. So as I said, today we're talking about something exciting and transformative in education, and that's AI in personalized learning. Artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword at this point. AI is a game changer that's redefining how we approach teaching and how we approach learning. But what exactly does it mean for learning to be personalized? And how does AI make it happen? That's what I want to explore in this first segment. Let's start with the basics. Personalized learning at its core is about meeting students where they are and tailoring the educational experience to fit their individual needs, their skills, and their interests. Imagine a classroom where each student's learning path adapts dynamically to the student's challenges and their pace. Sounds pretty futuristic, right? Well, it's 2025. The future is now. And artificial intelligence is going to play a role. But how does AI make this possible? At its most fundamental level, AI-driven personalized learning relies on sophisticated algorithms and, of course, because it's AI, data analysis. These systems collect and analyze data about students' performance in real time. This might include how they answer questions, how long they take to complete tasks, and even patterns in their mistakes. From this data, AI can identify trends and adjust to the learning experiences accordingly. For example, if a student struggles with a specific concept, the AI system might provide additional resources, break the material into smaller, more digestible pieces, or offer alternative explanations. On the other hand, if a student is excelling, the AI can introduce more challenging material to keep them engaged and growing. Now, let's think about why this is so powerful. Traditional classroom models often struggle to provide this level of individualized attention. In my experience, I might have 20 to 30 students, or even more students in a single class, and each student has unique needs and learning styles. No matter how skilled or dedicated I am, it is nearly impossible to tailor instruction for every single student, every single day. AI, however, can complement my efforts by providing that personalized support. But it's not just about academic performance. AI can also account for factors like a student's preferred learning style, whether they thrive with visual aids, hands-on activities, or text-based resources. It's like having a virtual assistant for every single student, ensuring that every single student gets what they need to succeed. This approach isn't just about addressing challenges. It's also about fostering growth and curiosity. AI-driven learning platforms can introduce materials in a way that aligns with a student's interests, making education feel less like a chore and more like an opportunity to explore. For example, imagine a student who loves art learning math concepts through visual representations or creative projects. AI can bridge those gaps, making the learning not only effective, but also, dare I say it, enjoyable? Of course, personalized learning isn't a new concept. You and I have always strived to connect with our students on an individual level. What's new is the scale and the precision that AI brings to the table. Instead of relying solely on teacher intuition, we can use AI and hard data to make informed decisions about what each student needs at any given moment. And this isn't limited to just K-12 education. AI is making its way into higher education, corporate training, and even professional development for teachers. The possibilities are endless, and the potential is truly enormous. In the next segment, I'm going to explore some real-world applications of AI-driven personalized learning. And I want you to think about this. If you had a tool that could help you better understand your students and support them in ways you never thought possible, how would you use it? Stick around. We've got a lot more to discuss on this episode. Let's talk about a tech tool you might not be using yet, but absolutely should. Mint Mobile. As teachers, we're all about maximizing resources. Whether it's squeezing the last bit of ink out of a marker or finding innovative ways to make the most of your classroom tech. Why not apply that same philosophy to your cell phone bill? Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Yes, you heard that right, $15 a month. That's less than the cost of a box of dry erase markers. And as tech-savvy educators, I know you'll appreciate the simplicity. You can manage everything online or through their app. No sneaky fees, no waiting on hold with customer service for hours. Here's the best part for us tech enthusiasts. Mint Mobile runs on the nation's largest 5G network. So whether you're using your phone to grade assignments, share lesson plans on Google Drive, or listening to this very podcast, you'll have the speed and reliability that you need. And as educators, let's be real, every dollar counts. Saving money on your phone bill means more money in your pocket to spend on things that matter, like investing in EdTech tools, grabbing supplies for your classroom, or just treating yourself to something nice. Switching to Mint Mobile is super easy. I did it 4 years ago. You can keep your phone number and your phone because who has time to update all those school contacts? They'll even ship you a SIM card or provide you with an eSIM for free. So why not make the switch today? Head to chrisnessy.com/mintmobile to get started. That's chrisnessy.com/mintmobile to cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month. Save money, stay connected, and teach smarter. That's Mint Mobile. Let's get back to the show. In the first segment, I explored what AI-driven personalized learning is and how it could work. Now, let's get into some real-world examples of how this technology is transforming classrooms and learning environments. To start, I want you to imagine a typical classroom scenario. Picture a group of 30 students, maybe your own group of 30 students, each with different learning styles, academic abilities, and personal interests. It's your challenge to create a one-size-fits-all lesson plan that can somehow meet the needs of every single student. This, as we know, is nearly impossible. But with AI, the game changes. Let's consider an example of how AI personalized learning works in practice. Let me use myself in this example. I'm a 9th grade social studies teacher. I teach world history to students with varying skill levels. Before implementing AI tools into my classroom, I honestly struggled to keep up with the challenges of providing extra support, supplemental resources, and in general, giving feedback to all of my students on all of the different things that I do in my social studies classroom. It has been, for the better part of a decade, a juggling act that has at times made me feel stretched thin, and sometimes I know that some students felt overlooked. In the last couple of years after incorporating AI into my classrooms, I have noticed a dramatic shift. The AI that I'm integrating that not only saves me time, is allowing me to provide support to individual students that I have never been able to provide before. There are so many different writing tools. One that I'll highlight is Magic School. And being able to put some of those tools in the hands of my students has allowed me to conference with more kids, while also, when I'm not able to speak with them one-on-one, give them support that they need in things that we do in terms of writing. Recently, I had students work with, during a DBQ, had them using the writing feedback tool in Magic School AI. As an example, where we watched a docudrama series, multiple parts. Students were taking notes and they were considering a bigger question at hand based on the topic. And now that that series has finished, now I'm asking them to consider the notes that they took and write a formal essay. One of the things I like to focus on is some formal writing. Yes, we do a lot of presentations and creative projects, but still, students need to understand how to write. I'm not an English teacher. I'm not a writing coach, but AI has allowed me to better support my students, and I am getting better written responses from my students. And not on the first try, because I'm not having them use any tool that is going to just give them an answer to their question. But it is a process. They are creating their own outlines. They are writing their own rough drafts. But a little boost, a little help, that goes a long way. And the biggest thing I've seen, it's given my students a boost in their confidence in the classroom. Also, in terms of results, I'm getting more engagement where my students are letting me know that they feel more supported and they've expressed more confidence in their abilities. All because I'm using a little AI to help what's going on. And I can do what I think I do best, and that's teaching, where I can walk around and have conversations. And that's really what it's all about. Before we move into the next segment, I want to know, what have you tried or what have you used to bring AI into your classroom or into your school to either help what you do or to help your students? And if you're against it, I'd also like to know why. So send me an email, feedback@chrisnessy.com, or you can go to chrisnessy.com/voicemail and let me know your thoughts about what you're doing or the reasons why you're not incorporating AI into your classroom. What can we take away from my example? AI-driven personalized learning isn't just a theoretical concept. It's already making a tangible difference in my classroom. It can make a difference, and I know it's making a difference in other people's classrooms. It's empowering teachers like me, it's supporting students like mine, and it's allowing them to discover their potential. AI is proving to be a valuable ally in education. In the next segment, I'm going to shift the focus to an equally important topic, and that's the role of teachers in an AI-enhanced classroom. If AI is doing so much, where does that leave the human educators like you and I? Stick around, because we'll dive into how teachers can embrace AI as a tool, not a threat, and ensure that their role remains at the heart of the learning. Let's talk about a tool that's as flexible as your lesson plans need to be, Workflowy. If you're like me, your to-do list, lesson ideas, and meeting notes might be scattered across some sticky notes, Google Docs, random notebooks. Sound familiar? Workflowy is here to save the day. Workflowy is the ultimate organizational tool for educators. It's simple, clean, and super powerful for creating outlines, brainstorming ideas, and tracking tasks, all in one place. Think of it like a digital whiteboard for your brain, but way more organized. Here's why you'll love it as an educator. Lesson planning made simple. Create a detailed outline for your lessons or units with nested lists that you can expand or collapse as needed. Need to tweak something for next year? It's as easy as dragging and dropping. Track your to-dos. Keep track of assignments to grade, emails to send, and those IEP meetings that you need to prep for, all in a single searchable list. Collaborate with ease. Share lists or notes with colleagues, so co-teaching or team planning is seamless. The best part? Workflowy's minimalist interface lets you focus on what really matters. Your ideas. No clutter, no distractions. Just a clean workspace to help you stay on top of everything. And here's a little pro tip. Use Workflowy for student projects. Have them create outlines for essays or research papers. It's a great way to teach them structure and organization. Getting started is completely free. Head over to chrisnessy.com/workflowy to sign up and see why thousands of educators are calling it their go-to productivity tool. So why not give Workflowy a try? Simplify your life, streamline your teaching, and reclaim your time. That's chrisnessy.com/workflowy. Now let's get back to the episode. So far, we've explored the fundamentals of AI-driven learning, and I've talked about a recent real-world example that has transformed my own classroom. Now it's time to address a big question. What does all of this mean for teachers? With AI taking on tasks like grading, creating adaptive lesson plans, and providing instant feedback, where does that leave you and me as the human educators? Spoiler alert, teachers are more important than ever. In this part of the episode, I want to explore how you can embrace AI as a tool to enhance your work, not replace it. And how you and I as humans, obviously we bring the human element, and that remains at the heart of any successful classroom, whether you have AI or not. But let's start with a foundational truth. Education is fundamentally a human-centered profession. At its core, teaching is about building relationships, fostering trust, and inspiring curiosity. These are things that no AI system, no matter how advanced, can replicate. AI might be able to analyze data, suggest next steps, but it can't connect with students on an emotional level. It can't notice when a student's body language suggests that they're having a rough day. And it certainly can't provide the kind of encouragement that comes from a trusted teacher who truly believes in their students' potential. So, where does AI fit in? Think of it as a powerful assistant. It's here to help you save time, gain insights, and extend your reach. For example, instead of spending hours grading quizzes, you can rely on AI to handle that task and use the time you've saved to work more closely with students who might need that extra support. AI can do the heavy lifting when it comes to data analysis, freeing you up to focus on what you do best: teaching, mentoring, and inspiring. Let's break this down further with a little analogy. Imagine, no surprise I'm going to talk about food here, that you are a chef in a busy kitchen. Your job isn't just to cook. It's to create an unforgettable dining experience. AI, in this analogy, is like a state-of-the-art set of kitchen tools. It can chop, it can dice, it can slice, it can measure with precision. But it's up to you to bring the ingredients together into something meaningful, tasteful. You decide the menu, adjust the flavors, and connect with your diners. AI enhances what you do. It doesn't replace what you do. The same is true in education. You set the tone for the classroom. You create the culture. You provide the context. And we ensure that students feel seen and feel valued. AI can help providing the data and the resources, but it's you and I, the teacher, who makes learning come alive. Another important point to consider is how AI can actually amplify your ability to differentiate instruction. Remember when I talked about what I'm doing with writing in the history classroom? Well, I used AI to adapt my lesson and what I was asking my students to do to their needs. But the true magic happened when I used the information I already knew about my students to connect with them on a deeper level in terms of knowing who they are as writers. I didn't just introduce AI on day one, but by understanding where my students were struggling, I was able to provide targeted support as well as encouragement. AI gave me insights, and it allowed me to bring the empathy and foster the creativity. And let's not forget professional development. AI isn't just for students. It can also help you and me grow in our practice. By analyzing patterns in student performance, AI can highlight areas where we might need additional support or resources. For example, if students across a class struggle with a specific concept, AI can suggest professional development workshops. Or if we were to use a chatbot, I could have a conversation with AI and maybe get curated resources that can help me address those gaps, which is a lot more powerful than going out to Uncle Google. But here's an important caveat. For this partnership between me and you and AI to work, we need to feel empowered, not threatened. Too often, technology is introduced without enough training or context. That leaves you and me feeling overwhelmed, and some educators feel resistant. If we want AI to truly enhance education, we need to invest in robust training programs that show us how to use these tools effectively and with confidence. And let's address the elephant in the room. The fear that AI can replace you. This fear isn't unfounded. After all, we have seen technology disrupt industries before. But in education, the role of the teacher is irreplaceable. AI cannot replicate human intuition, cultural understanding, and emotional intelligence. That's what teachers bring to the table. It's not about man versus machine. It's about man and machine working together to create better outcomes for students. So where do we go from here? It starts with a mindset shift. You need to see AI not as a competitor, but as a collaborator. Schools and districts need to provide the resources and the training to make that possible. And as a community, we need to keep the focus on what matters most: the students. When I come back in the final segment, I'm going to tackle some of the challenges and the ethical considerations that come with AI personalized learning, from data privacy to algorithmic bias. There are important questions we need to ask to ensure this technology is used responsibly. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Let's talk about a fun and creative way to enhance your classroom and bring a smile to your students' faces: Sticky Brand. Sticky Brand makes it super easy to create custom stickers for any occasion. Whether it's celebrating student achievements, decorating your classroom, or personalizing supplies, stickers are the perfect way to add a little flair to your teaching. And with Sticky Brand, you can design exactly what you need in no time at all. Here's how you can use Sticky Brand in your classroom. Reward your students with custom Great Job or Homework Hero stickers to recognize their hard work. Add your own personality to your classroom with stickers that match your theme or subject, like historical figures for history class or STEM icons for science. Get stickers for your school club, your sports teams, or extracurricular programs. Your students and the community will love them. You could also send home stickers with your school's logo or special event reminders to keep families connected. And the best part? Sticky Brand makes ordering completely hassle-free. Just upload your design, choose your size and shape, and they'll ship your stickers fast. No complicated steps, no waiting around. And here's an exclusive deal for listeners of the House of Ed Tech. When you visit chrisnessy.com/stickers, you'll get $5 off your first order of $60 or more. So whether you're stocking up for the entire school year or just a special event, this is the perfect time to give Sticky Brand a try. Custom stickers are a small investment that can make a big impact in your classroom. Again, head to chrisnessy.com/stickers to get started today. That's chrisnessy.com/stickers, because a little stickiness can go a long way. And now, back to the show. In the last segment, I talked about the irreplaceable role of you and me in the AI-enhanced classroom. Now it's time to address some critical considerations around AI in education. Things like ethical concerns, environmental impacts, and best practices for ensuring these tools are used effectively and responsibly. Before I dive in, I want to give a special shout out to two listeners who helped shape this section: Stephanie Howell and AJ Bianco. I put out the call, sent up the House of EdTech bat signal, and was looking for people to share their questions, comments, or concerns about this topic for this episode. And Stephanie and AJ sent me some really good questions that I hope I will address effectively in this segment. All right, let's first start with the environmental impact of AI in education. When we think about AI, we often focus on its potential to transform education, but there is a hidden cost: the energy required to power these systems. AI relies on vast data centers to store and process information, and these data centers consume an enormous amount of electricity. In fact, some reports suggest that training a single AI model can generate as much carbon dioxide as multiple transatlantic flights. So, is this concern overblown? Not entirely. While AI is undoubtedly resource intensive, companies and researchers are working on ways to limit its environmental impact. For example, many tech companies are investing in renewable energy to power their data centers. Some are even developing more energy-efficient algorithms that require less computational power. But as educators, what can we do? First, we can ask critical questions when adopting AI tools. Are the companies behind these tools transparent about their environmental policies? Are they committed to sustainability? Secondly, we can advocate for smarter usage. AI doesn't need to be running 24/7. You and I can plan for strategic use of AI tools to reduce the energy consumption while still reaping the benefits. And Stephanie, in her question, she mentioned social media and carbon footprints. And this is a great reminder of another key point: digital literacy. Students are often bombarded with conflicting information about environmental issues online. As educators, we have the opportunity to teach them how to critically evaluate these claims and understand the bigger picture. After all, addressing the environmental impact of technology isn't just about the tools we use. It's about fostering a mindset of responsibility and sustainability. Now, let's pivot a little bit here and let's go to AJ's question. And he asked, how can we help students understand not just what these tools are, but how and why to use them? And this is a very important point, AJ. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of introducing a shiny new tool. But if we don't teach students how to use it thoughtfully, well, then we're doing them a great disservice. So, what does that look like in practice? I think it starts with intention. When we introduce an AI tool, we need to frame it as part of a larger process. Instead of saying, here's an AI tool that can write essays, we could say, here's an AI tool that can help you brainstorm ideas and improve your writing skills. Let's talk about how to use it responsibly and ethically. It's also about context. Students need to understand the limitations of AI. For example, they should know that AI models are only as good as the data that they're trained on, and that bias in that data can lead to biased outcomes. They should also understand the importance of verifying information that's generated by AI, just as they would fact-check any source online. Another best practice is modeling how and why in real-world scenarios. For example, let's say a student uses an AI tool to generate ideas for a project. We can encourage that student to reflect on the process. What did the AI get right? What did it miss? How did it help you think differently about the topic? By asking these questions, we're teaching students to think critically about their use of AI rather than relying on it blindly. And let's not forget the role of professional development. Teachers ourselves need to understand these tools inside and out before we can effectively teach students with these tools. This means going beyond surface level training, and we need to ask questions like, how does this tool work? What are its strengths and limitations? How can I, as the teacher, use it to promote creativity and deeper learning? This is where consultants and education specialists can play a big role. As AJ pointed out in his question, we need experts who can go beyond just introducing tools to show teachers and students. We need to know how to use them in meaningful ways. We also need to talk about ethics. Whenever we use AI in the classroom, we need to think very carefully about the issues like data privacy, consent, and equity. Who owns the data that students generate when they use these tools? How is the data being stored and used? Are all students able to access these tools? Or are we unintentionally widening the digital divide? These, I can't lie, these are tough questions, but they are essential, and it's not something that I can answer right here, right now. But as teachers, we have a responsibility to advocate for transparency and accountability from the companies that provide these tools. We also have a responsibility to ensure that AI doesn't become a substitute for human connection, but rather a tool that enhances it. So what's the takeaway here? AI is powerful. But, as Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. By addressing environmental concerns, teaching best practices, and prioritizing ethical considerations, we can ensure that AI-driven personalized learning benefits both our students and the planet. In the final segment, I will share some practical steps that you can take to integrate AI responsibly in your classroom and discuss how to start small while making a big impact. Don't go to the next podcast episode. I'll be right back. We all know it's important to keep our files organized, accessible, and most importantly, secure. That's why I want to introduce you to Sync.com, the ultimate cloud storage solution built with your privacy in mind. Sync makes it easy to store, share, and access your files from anywhere, whether you're at school, at home, or on the go. Need to share lesson plans with a colleague? Upload student resources to share with your class? Or you just want to keep all your important documents backed up in one place? Sync has you covered. What's the thing that sets Sync apart? End-to-end encryption. Your data is 100% private and secure, so you can confidently store sensitive documents like school records or lesson plans. You can share files or folders with colleagues, parents, or students in just a few clicks. No complicated setup required. And Sync works across all your devices, so you can upload a document from your school computer and access it later on your phone or a tablet. And here's a bonus for listeners of the House of Ed Tech. If you sign up using my link, chrisnessy.com/sync, that's SYNC, you'll get an additional 1 gigabyte of storage, absolutely free. That's more space to keep your teaching material safe and accessible. With Sync.com, you'll have peace of mind knowing your files are secure, your privacy is protected, and you'll never lose track of important documents again. Head to chrisnessy.com/sync today to get started. That's chrisnessy.com/sync. And now, back to the show. All right, we have covered a lot on today's episode, from understanding the potential of AI-driven personalized learning to discussing ethical considerations, environmental impacts, and best practices for teaching students how to use these tools responsibly. Now let's bring it all together. In the final part of this episode, I want to share some practical strategies for integrating AI into your classroom in ways that are impactful, manageable, and most importantly, responsible. Whether you're an AI enthusiast or you feel hesitant about these tools, I think there's something here for everybody who listens. The first step is to start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire teaching practice to incorporate AI. In fact, it's better to focus on one area where AI can make an immediate impact. For example, you might start by using AI tools to assist with formative assessment or to provide additional practice for students who need support in a particular subject. The key here is alignment. Whatever tool or strategy you choose, make sure it aligns with your learning objectives. AI should enhance your teaching, not distract from your teaching. Think about the problem you're trying to solve. Do your students need more personalized feedback? Are you looking for ways to differentiate instruction? Could AI help save time on routine tasks so you can focus on your students? Once you've identified your goal, it's easier to evaluate which AI tools or approaches are best for you. Also, don't feel like you need to be an expert from day one. Start with what you know, experiment, and build your confidence over time. Remember, small, intentional steps will lead to bigger results. Next, create a culture of critical engagement around AI in your classroom. This means encouraging your students to think deeply about how and why they're using these tools. For example, ask reflective questions after an AI-assisted activity. What did the tool help you accomplish? What were its limitations? Discuss ethical scenarios. What would happen if AI made an incorrect assumption about your work? How could bias in the tool affect its recommendations? Explore the why behind AI. Why do these tools work the way they do? What data do they rely on? By making these discussions a regular part of your classroom routine, you'll help students become more thoughtful and intentional users of not only AI technology, but technology in general. Here's a simple exercise to get started. Assign your students the task of researching how AI is being used in industries like healthcare, education, or entertainment. Then have them present their findings and discuss the potential benefits and drawbacks of these applications. This is not only going to build digital literacy, but it will also help your students see the broader implications of AI beyond the classroom. Another important strategy is collaboration. Don't feel like you need to navigate the world of AI in education by yourself. Heck, you're listening to this episode, so you're already not alone. Share your experiences with your colleagues. Join a professional learning community. P.S. You're already in one because you're listening to the show. Attend workshops, go to conferences, learn about AI integration. For example, you could start an informal AI learning group at your school where you and your colleagues can share tools, strategies, and the lessons you've learned. This kind of collaboration not only helps you stay informed, but also builds a support network for people that are on the same journey. Teaching doesn't have to be on an island, so talk to the people you teach with. And don't forget to involve your students in this process. If you're trying out a new AI tool, ask for their feedback. What do they like? What do they think could be improved? You might be surprised by the insights that your students have to offer. And finally, remember to celebrate your wins, big and small. If an AI tool helps one student master a tough concept or saves you 30 minutes of grading, that's a success worth recognizing. And now I want to share what I'm calling a responsible implementation checklist. And if you want this checklist, I've designed it as a poster. And if you go to chrisnessy.com/AI poster, I am sharing what I put together on Canva. And if you wanted to print this poster, you're welcome to do that. And if you do, take a picture of it, share it on social media, tag me, and I would love to see it out and about in the real world beyond Canva. But here we go. Here's the checklist I've come up with. Number 1, identify your goal. What specific problem are you trying to solve with AI? Number 2, do your research. Investigate the tools you're considering and make sure they align with your educational values. Number 3, start small. Begin with a pilot program or a single class activity to test the waters. Number 4, engage critically. Teach your students to reflect on their use of AI and consider its ethical and practical implications. Number 5, collaborate. Share your experiences and learn from others in your school or within your professional learning network. Number 6, monitor and adapt. Regularly assess the effectiveness of AI in your classroom and adjust your approach as needed. And number 7, advocate for equity. Ensure that all students have access to the tools and resources that they need to benefit from AI. Again, if you'd like to get a digital copy of this checklist, or if you want to go there and you want to print it out, go to chrisnessy.com/AI poster. And I think this has been pretty fun. Now, if you follow these steps, I can't guarantee any success. But here's what I will say. If you follow this checklist, you not only integrate AI effectively, but you'll also be modeling the kind of thoughtful, ethical use of technology that your students need to see. So there you have it, a roadmap for bringing AI into your classroom in a way that I think is practical, impactful, and responsible. I hope you have found this episode helpful and inspiring. If you have your own tips, stories, or questions about AI in education, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to me on social media. Let's go Blue Sky, where I am at Mr. Nessy. If you search it, I'm there. Or you can leave a comment on the episode show notes. Go to chrisnessy.com/258. And the link to the show notes is a swipe or a tap away where you are listening right now. Thanks for joining me for another episode of House of Ed Tech. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe or follow button, and let's make this podcast one of your go-tos for professional development. You'll find the links and resources for this episode at chrisnessy.com/258. I'm always excited to hear your feedback or questions, so feel free to send an email, feedback@chrisnessy.com, or leave a voicemail at chrisnessy.com/voicemail. Let's keep the conversation going. Do you know an educator who would love this content? Share this episode with them. Your support helps me reach more people and build a stronger EdTech community. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to my awesome supporters, Leo Calbush, Brian Carpenter, Aaron Cummings, Jeff Herb, Peggy George, and of course, Matt Miller. If you'd like to join this amazing group, visit chrisnessy.com/awesome. Your support truly makes a difference. Next time on House of Ed Tech, we will continue this little series about the future of education, and we're going to shift away from AI, and I'm going to explore gamification in education. And that episode will come your way on January 26th, 2025. Until next time, thank you for learning with me, and remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try.